Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to the sport coach conversations and follow up to the articles of our blog. It is with great pleasure that we would like to welcome today Luka Bassin, player development coach for Olympia Cedevita, and very experienced coach in all divisions and at all levels. Welcome, coach. How you doing, Luka?
First of all, thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me here. I'm okay. Busy, as I said. A lot of things to do right now. Many practices, video analysis, everything. So kind of busy time of the year, but I'm happy that it's busy time of the year.
Busy is good. Busy is good, and that means that we all are healthy and we are able to do what we love the most.
Yep.
So that is great news.
Yep.
Let me start, and we always try to go back to the articles that you guys coaches share with us on our blog in Sport Coach, and I would love to start with something that is it's
Not
quite
really,
interesting. I agree with
not really big. I
what you
believe this is
wrote.
something
The
that it's
importance of
more
being mentally
if
tough
he's not
as a player.
incorporate that part. How can we
First of all, being mentally tough
at
is
least
a
something?
skill that can be developed. I think that would be the first question. We all agree on.
I believe that it can be developed, but not really big. I believe this is something that it's more in your DNA than that can be developed. Of course, with some drills, with some analyses, showing players what is good, what is wrong. I believe you can lift this ability to be self-confident a little bit, but in general, I believe that it's more about DNA, and it's very, very difficult to make somebody mentally tough if he's not. I mean, if he's not already at least tough, not really tough, but at least something.
I think that we all agree on. There are a lot of coaches nowadays complaining about young players not being mentally tough enough to face the challenges that becoming a pro means. So, as coaches, we have the duty and our responsibilities to try to help them on becoming mentally stronger. How can we incorporate that part of the training in our workouts?
Of course, the first thing is by talking to the players, by trying to show him that he can be self-confident, that he is good. You know, I before you are telling that we must face this, and especially in Slovenia. You know, in Slovenia we don't have so many players. You know, and if we have some player who is really tall, who looks like a basketball player, but he's not mentally tough, it's our job. It's our job to make him mentally tough, but it's really difficult. Now, how to make him mentally tough? There are a lot of, like, let's say, theories, but from my experience, it's very hard. It's very hard to make this click for somebody who is not to somebody who will be. Uh, First of all, I believe that you have to talk to him. You have to be like his father, because this comes actually from the family. I believe, it's how they teach you when you were young, when you were not playing basketball, but when you were a kid. So it's a lot about, as I said, DNA, and then how you were raised in your family. And especially, I can talk with Slovenians now that. There are really a lot of players, especially those who are tall, who are big, that they are not self-confident, that they are not mentally tough, and all the pressures from outside, which are pushing them from the agent, from the parents, also from the other coaches, make him think too much, and then they cannot. They have this fear of failure, and that's the basics. You kind of, as a coach, try to tell players that failure is just a failure. Then there is next day, next practice, and by practicing a lot, you will maybe go above these failures, and by this, so actually talking to players and practicing a lot, that's number two things that maybe, just maybe, you can make a player mentally tough.
Or at least it can probably be a good tool for them. And I agree with you that um, and when we talk about player development, it means sometimes it means only or we refer only wrongly talking about skills or
Mm.
technical skills or tactical skills. But player development means a lot more than that. It's about developing people and
Yeah.
helping young people that really have the potential, but they don't know exactly how to direct all that potential to the right place and in the right manner.
Mm.
So it is so important to think about player development in more than just technical and tactical details. And
Yeah.
probably coaches, we should do a better job on that.
Yeah. And
When
even
you talk about working,
yeah, yeah, say.
go ahead, please.
No, I was trying to say that maybe it's even tougher to make development considering mental toughness than skills or decision making and so on.
Absolutely, absolutely agree. When you refer in the article that your preferred number to have workouts, it's between 1 and 6. Should we stop as coaches? Should we stop calling it individual workouts, because probably that's also a wrong term and sends the wrong message.
Yeah, normally we said before that this is individual workouts, and then most of the people think that this is the workout with one player. It can be with one player, but with one player, more or less, you can practice skills. But even more important, okay, you have to practice skills. Skills must be really good in order to play good basketball. But if you want to develop decision making, then it's hardly to do this with one, two, or three players. Maybe if you have two players, you can play one on one. But to somehow to develop decision making, I really like to have four and more people where you can make some things 2-on-2, 3-on-3, even 4-on-4. So that's why I, I don't like the expression individual workouts, but it's more now player development. But now depends how many players you have. But in general, I really I enjoy everything. But if I have 4 or 6 players, I think it's the best number of the players to have in this, let's say, player development program.
And I'm pretty sure that for you it's the same experience. But when you have four guys or 6 guys, 6 players at the same time in your workouts, the dynamics and the synergies that you can create on those workouts sometimes cannot be compared to the things that you work with your team. So having people that can create those, I call them micro associations in between players, that opportunity
Hmm.
to get to know your teammates better and create that inner language in between people that play in different positions. It's very difficult to find those opportunities outside of the workouts. Do you focus also on those micro associations and relationships?
Depends, here the work that I do right now, it's kind of split between this farm team of Cedevita Olympia, which is Liria, which is played in second division, where we have players from these players which are actually making transition from junior team to the senior team, which is maybe the most important time for player development. And then I have some older players. So actually we work at the two different places, but yes, I can say that I have these 3 or 4 players which work as a unit almost every day, and I'm putting them in the position to make decision making and everything. And why 4? Because if there are just 4 or 6, then there will be a lot of repetitions, a lot of situations where they have to make some decisions. And if we talk about again about these numbers, about the synergy, about the competitiveness, there is another thing that I really like to have to add to some group of, let's say, younger players, some veteran player, and this is really good for motivation, because from my experience, when you have 4 or 5 younger players, or let's say young players, 19, 20 years old, and then you put some high level experienced players with them on this practice, the level of practice, the energy of practice lifts dramatically. And I really like always to add somebody who is, let's say, the basketball player already formed and everything with some good resume and everything.
That it's a great idea, actually. How important is for you to work on defensive development during your workouts? How many time or how much time do you dedicate for defense compared to offense?
That's an interesting question, and here I believe that I have this something that I need to do it more. I know in my, but not just in mine, probably in all of the player development. Let's say that 90% of the development of the drills are offensive drills, and not so much about defense. Somehow we underestimate defense. Now, why is that so? Because I believe that we are we are more as a coaches always when it comes to individual development focus on offense, how to score, how to pass, how to make a good dribble and good decision. While we kind of underestimate the defensive part of the basketball. And
Hello?
yeah, I hear you. Everything okay?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah, you got lost for a little bit.
So I'm telling that we as a coaches always focus more on offensive skills, and we should sometimes focus more even on defensive end. But the goal of the basketball is to put the ball in the basket to score. So that's why we are focusing the most on the shooting and rim finishes. But sometimes also when we practice offense, so 3-on-3, 4-on-4, even 2-on-2, we are also talking with players and showing them how to defend, how to be in defensive stance, where to help, where not to help, where to bump, where to stunt, and everything. But yeah, you're right. 90% of the development is about offense. Hello?
Can you Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Uh, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. We are experiencing a lot of problems with the connection. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. So, did you hear what?
Yeah, I got.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah. Yeah, I got the message. Yeah, I got the
good.
message. I believe that we all do the same, and we are probably could be doing a better job on that. And it's true that when you incorporate defensive situations, you work on some defensive details. That
Yeah.
helps also the players to realize what the real game looks like, and
Hmm.
and adding also this competitiveness to the workouts. It's always beneficial. At the end of the day, you can work out on a lot of details on your offensive skills, but if you don't know
Mm.
exactly how's the defense reacting against those skills,
Yep.
it is difficult to picture the situation that you are going to live in the game. How do you when I was reading the article, and you mentioned that it is extremely important to have a very good communication and relationship between you and the rest of the staff, physiotherapists, strength and
Yep.
conditioning coaches, the head coaches, and how do you coordinate that in your club in particular?
Okay, I believe that we have here really good communication. First it's sports director. I'm lucky that one of the ex-players, Sani Bečirović, very known player,
Okay.
is a sports director in Cedevita, and he somehow recognized what club needs. Because this is actually the first year that Cedevita Olympia is doing this. That they hire me as a player development coach. Of course, before more or less assistant coaches did this job, but to have a player development coach now is essential, I believe, and it is already in US in NBA for years now, slowly coming to Europe. And if we talk about this territory here, ex-Yugoslavia, I believe that Cedevita is the first team to to hire player development coach. So I'm really lucky that Sunny recognized this in me. But before a season starts, we talked also to head coach which players are the most important players to develop. Um, then we talked what development do we want. So which skills, which decisions we'll try to develop with specific players. That's definitely number one. So we made a plan together with sports director and head coach. On the other side, of course, there always should be also communication with strength and conditioning coach, especially with those players in the transition from junior to senior team, and also with psychologists, for example, that also psychologists can help, and physiotherapists, of course, because players are almost always injured. They have pains here, pains there, and it's a must-have that you cooperate to communicate with physiotherapist also. So I believe that this is the foundation. If you want to have good player development, that you have all these together and that you communicate together as a team and to have the same goals. And in the end of the season, we'll again sit down and see what development we did.
Let me circle back a little bit on this. Did you just mention that you have a psychologist in your club right now working on the stuff?
Yeah. We have it. So it's not like everyday opportunity, but if we need it, especially for younger players, then we connect somehow those younger players with psychologists to talk to them, to show them some techniques for, I don't know, for relaxation or something. So yeah.
Have you seen the benefits of having psychologists adding value to the player development, especially in the young ages?
I believe this is everything about the players. If they believe in it, they will make probably some good job. If somebody does not believe, then it's useless even to put them together. So if you ask me, my experience from the past are that uh, psychologists can help to some of the players, but not to the majority of players, let's say. And if you ask me, it's for group sports like basketball, uh, it's not so important that maybe for some individual sports.
Okay. What about the strength and conditioning? Do you have your strength and conditioning coach joining you for the player development sessions from time to time?
From time to time, yes, but not always. We have one strength and conditioning coach which works with first team, so with senior team of Cedevita Olympia, and then another strength and conditioning coach who works in this farm team of Illyria, where we have younger players. So they are actually somehow connected, and they talk, they communicate what is good, what is bad. But if you ask me if strength and conditioning coaches are there for the practices, more or less they're there for before the practice and after the practice. Sometimes we talk what is good, what is maybe not so good. He can suggest me uh, how strong we can go. He said, okay, today you can go 100% contact practice. Then it's okay. If he said sometimes they are tired a little bit, so don't go 1-on-1, don't go 2-on-2 today. Then it's up to him. But yeah, in general, after practice and before practice, they are with us all the time, and I can call them every time.
That is very interesting, and I guess that's supposed to be the way for everyone to work out with the players. And I mean, no doubt, and that's why the Slovenian players are so skilled, and they have that player development work done by very early. So when they arrive to professional stages, they are already very developed on those things. Uh, my next question will be, in the article you mentioned that you have like three different, or you make a difference in between three different levels: youth players, young players, and pro, let's say, pro
Hmm.
players.
Yep.
What are the main different focuses that you have in those three levels? How do you approach player development in
Hmm.
those three different levels? Because, you know, unfortunately, there are a lot of coaches that believe that you should be working out with every player, regardless the level they have,
Hmm.
in the same way.
Yeah. I believe the main difference between those categories, between those groups, are that in those first group, let's say from 15 to 16, 17, the practice, player development practice, and the drills, the skills that we use there must be really wide. You know, we must do everything from ball handling to shooting to rim finishing, dribbling, footwork. So everything actually, we do everything there. When they are 19, 20, we already know approximately what level they will be and what they need. They who is point guard, who is forward, you know, and this group, which is from my side the most important group. So that's the group which goes from the junior to the senior level, which is sometimes really complex and hard, difficult. In that group, and that's the group that I work the most with it. We have to find the specific drills for specific players, you know, because my belief, my philosophy is that sometimes we do some drills, and when you analyze your work, then you see that it was actually a waste of time. If we work on pick and roll with somebody who will not play pick and roll when he will be, let's say, older players, then for me this is waste of time, you know. So the roles in this group, so from 19, 20 years old, must be already made. So you are, let's say, point guard, you will play pick and roll, you will do this, you will do this. Then you will be, let's say, 3 and D players. So you will do this and this and this. And by this, we will kind of eliminate some drills that we will not work with everybody the same, while we do more or less the same drills with players under, so with those really young players. And then we have this third group, as you said, pro veterans, let's say high level group of players from 22, 23 years old on. With those players, I believe that the majority of work can be done during the off season, where let's say that our goal is to add one or two important skill to the repertoire of this player. So it's really we really go from if we start with many drills with youth, then we go with not so many drills with those 19, 20 years old, and then we are really specific drills with those older players. That's from my side the most important differences between the groups.
Let me get back a little bit to to that second group. Let's say
Okay.
the critical group.
Yep.
Where do you draw the line in between? We are going to try to expand these players' abilities, or we are going to try to specialize this player for the next stage. Because, you know, like you said, we have a guy, he's a great shooter. He's not going to play a lot of pick and roll situations. He's really good coming off the screen, catch and shoot.
Yeah.
Not a lot of ability to put the ball on the floor. Should we, where do you draw the line between let's work with this guy to have him being able to play ball screen situations, in the or going in an opposite direction and say, okay, here is what he's really good at. Let's go special on this and more into detail on this, because that is what the senior team might be asking from him.
Mm. Yeah, that's great question, Oscar, and difficult question, because for one, it's real difficult to explain to somebody, let's say, who is prospect and he has high hope that he will become really good player, to say him, come on, you are not Luka Doncic, so no need for you that practice the skills, the decisions that Luka Doncic is doing. Now you are just 3-and-D player, and you will just keep good spacing, and you will shoot spot up shots. It's really difficult to explain this to some players. So here you must be somehow, you must adjust. It's between me, head coach, sports director, maybe, but not telling to the players directly that he will be this and this. Now, if you ask me where is the line between all this, I believe that you have to choose 2 or 3 biggest qualities of the player that you want player to have when he will be senior level player, and then focus on those 3. But in meantime, of course, even those 3-and-D players, they will work on pick and roll. They will make a ball handling, because it's everything together is a package of the player. But the main focus will be on 2 or 3 skills which this player will need. So that's my philosophy, and I believe that you can make the biggest development if you do this.
That's a great answer. I completely agree with you, and it is probably one of the most difficult conversations that you may have as a coach to a young player. Not trying to limit anyone, but trying to narrow down his possibilities, and he's throwing a little bit of light to a player that is becoming a pro in a very few years, or next season. So you have to make them you have to make them realize that these are your strengths. This is what is going to take you to the next level, and then with time, like we all do, as long as you are in the highest level possible, you have the ability to keep expanding your game every year, trying to add a little bit something to your game. So yeah, that's a very difficult conversation. I agree
Here,
with you.
if I can add,
one
here.
one part of your article draw a lot of attention that you are not a fan of yeah. Hello.
Yeah. You hear me?
Oh, yeah. I can.
Yeah, I just
So
want to
I was saying that one part of your
just wanted to add the quote of Fran Fraschilla. He's ESPN analyst, and he was good coach. And if we go back to the question before, he said in NBA there are 30 teams, and in each team there is 2 or 3 players which spend almost 75% of the balls, when they make. So all the others are just the role players. So actually, it's very good for them if they start to practice to be role players as soon as possible, because other than that, because they will become good, very good, excellent role players, and they can play NBA. While if they will be just so role players, but they will try to be, as I said, superstar, they will not succeed, and they will not be even a role player. So that's maybe the philosophy that I really like.
Yeah, I remember reading that quote, and actually, it is what we call a hard truth.
Yep.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Not easy to listen, even harder to say, but it makes a lot of sense when we talk about being a professional. Sometimes we need to leave our dreams out, especially when you arrive to 19, 20, 21 years old. That becomes a job, and that is really a hard conversation.
Yep.
I was saying before that there was a part of your article that drew a lot of attention with a lot of coaches when you mentioned that you're not a big fan of dummy defense or guided defenses when you work on your drills. Could you elaborate a little bit on that and explain your position on that topic?
Yeah, okay. I believe that it's kind of controversy with some of the coaches that I mentioned that.
which is good, which is good, by the way.
which is always good, because I'm saying they're not just one truth. I think like this, somebody else thinking different, and it's all good. That's why we have to talk. There is not just one truth. There is always many truths about all the things. From my experience, and here maybe I will not put in the same group dummy defense and guided defense. Dummy defense, maybe it is good sometimes, but I really don't like guided defense, because from my experience, it's I don't know, it doesn't mean really big development. Even I was working with those guided defense drills before, but somehow when I analyze everything after the practice, after the season, I kind of saw that it doesn't bring me and bring the players development that we wanted. And then I thought about it, and the thing is that I believe that if player is working 1-on-0 and you are showing them some signs, or 2, 1, 3, or if you say red, blue, or whatever, that's really far from the situation that you will have in the game situations. It's really something that doesn't help, I believe. On the other side, I'm a big believer that you have to make million of repetitions when we talk about skills, and once the skills are really good on the high level, then you go directly to the 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3 situation and learn from this. So just from my experience, I saw that those guided defense things doesn't work, at least didn't work for me. So maybe for somebody it works, but from my experience, I go directly from 1-on-0 to, let's say, 1-on-1, or 2-on-0 directly to 2-on-2. So no guided defense for me.
Yeah, I probably trying to find gold, and that's what we are trying to look for, the perfect combination in between block practice and decision making dynamics. And if everything is just real game situations, probably we are not working enough on the details that the player is gonna need. And if we go too deeply into block practice and repetitions with a proper game context, we will not add in the real value that they need. I'm gonna finish with and let me do a little bit of a promo here. We just throw our Scout Pro Coach course, which is a very high quality content designed to help coaches how to scout. And I believe that to be a very good player development coach, you should be a very good scout. You should be able to identify the strengths and the weaknesses from all players, yours and the opponent. So what do you think would be the best resources that coaches could try to search for in terms of becoming a better player development coach?
I always believe that not just for player development coach, but in general, that the best source is if you go to practice and watch somebody who is, let's say, better, more experienced than you. That's definitely number one thing to learn from the best, to talk to other coaches, to call coaches, to ask questions, and that's I believe that is the best way. Other than that, in today's world, you have a lot of clinics, clinics on YouTube and everything, but also maybe even some better resources are if you go maybe deeply, and I believe you have to invest in yourself. Many coaches just they say, I will not pay for this clinic because I will not learn anything new. But I say invest in yourself. So even if needed, go sign to clinic, to some program, even pay those euros and everything. So invest in yourself, and then you will grow probably. But again, the most important thing is to talk to some more experienced coaches, to go to the practices of other teams. if they let you go in, and there you can learn a lot, maybe the most.
That's exactly our that's exactly our goal and our approach to help coaches worldwide right now with our expansion and international approach to help more and more people in different countries with our contents and trying to show everyone that you need to work on yourself and improve your craft every single day to become a better coach. We cannot ask the players to get better by practicing and finding time for the reps every day, and we as coaches not trying to get better every single day. So yeah, I wanted to thank you again, like I did before, for your time, for your article. It is really good content, and for your time today, and for joining us for this sport coach conversations, trying to help coaches to understand a little bit more about international experience. And so thank you very much, Luka, for your time, and we wish you all the best for this season and for the next one, of course.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here, Oscar. It was great talking to you, listening to other coaches. So yeah, thanks again for having me here, and good luck for the season and on.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's been a great conversation, and I'm sure that everyone is going to join. They're going to love it. So thank you very much. Keep in touch, coach.
Good. Keep in touch. Bye.
Bye.